Morning Koffee. I'm Mr. King. Y'all know my partner Joe Cool.
What's up, what's up?
All right, before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you are a new subscriber, please, let us know how you feel about the show. We appreciate the comments from last week. Yeah, Joey, before we get started, too, I don't know if you can see the shirt that I'm wearing, but it's from the NBA Players Association. Let me tell you, I went to their 4-day basketball clinic, and they combined that with the 5-star camp. And Jalen Brunson was one of the speakers. And I gotta tell you, listening to him talk about the way he wanted to try to be a leader to this team, I was a little bit impressed. Now I don't know if that would step on other people's toes or not, but I was like, damn, he got that way where he might command some of their respect, especially to be a young guy. So I was a little bit impressed with that. All right, first we're gonna talk about Donovan Mitchell. Nothing's happening right now. It's being reported that the Jazz and the Knicks, have stalled conversation. So I think in the moment right now, the Jazz, they still talking to other teams. So something's still in the pipeline, but it's just, the Knicks, we have the assets, we have the draft picks. It just comes down to, it's a matter of, how bad do we want them and how bad of a priority is it for us to get them? Is getting him, is that like a done deal that we need him to move to the next level? Or with the team we got and maybe some other moves, are we still can be in contention? Because does Donovan move the needle for you that much?
Nah. I think to everybody else, maybe yeah, but for me, no. If we get him, I feel like it would be great. Because then we can see where they're going with that direction. But I think they're going in the direction of let's work with what we got, stay with the young guys, and if an opportunity presents itself, then we take it. Because that's what they wanted was still, to me, way too much. I mean, like, most of them scenarios was like giving up the young guys that we love. So we love them that much, why y'all want to get rid of them? Like, I still can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah, that's I think that's the dilemma that some of the Knicks fans probably have. A few years ago, we say we rebuilding, the right way, the so-called right way. And then all of a sudden, first opportunity come along, we ready to ditch.
Yeah, ready to trade
all our young guys. So,
I was on team quickly. I'm on team Grimes and Obi. So just to say, throw them away for Donovan Mitchell, some players, yeah, you got to do that for. But for him, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, because until he signed with another team or they decide they're just going to stop negotiating with other teams to keep him, that rumor's going to now be out there. And I think, too, what gave it life was the tweets that he had been putting out, last week, making these accusations. So I think people are always going to have that in the back of their mind. But you know what I always say, too, go back to we had an opportunity to draft him. You remember a few years ago? We was talking about Rick Pitino saying the Knicks would be crazy not to draft him. So why sometimes we got to go back and even be in this whole thing when we could have had him from the door? So the Knicks got that. We still got that way of getting in our own way. But just hopefully at this now, now that you got Brunson, now you can try to build on something because you so-called got the point guard that you wanted. Well, you damn sure got the point guard that you wanted because you did move heaven and earth to get him. But remember last week, too, I was asking the question, why RJ name wasn't coming up, in the trade rumors. And then now we finding out that Danny Ainge didn't want to include RJ in the trade rumors because he's due that big increase. So it was like, do we take him now? Like most teams, they swap star for star in the sense if you want to say RJ is a star. They usually swap studs. So in this case, if they didn't want RJ for that reason, that would just lead to one thing, that either Utah is rebuilding while they stacking all these draft picks, or they stacking these draft picks because maybe they're gonna try to bunch them together and go after a big stud themselves. So that's kind of odd to me. But then I was reading again later that Utah did want RJ in the total beginning of this process. They wanted RJ and Mitchell Robinson, and they wanted 3 first-round draft picks. But it came back down to the same thing of RJ's big extension. Now, that's why they backed off. Now, I don't know where the Knicks felt in that scenario. Like, were the Knicks, were they willing to shop RJ? Or was it just one of them situations that Utah inquired about him, but then decided with the extension, they don't know how big a balloon payment that's going to be. So now I wonder, and if they were shopping RJ, is RJ professional enough to handle that? You know, coming out of Duke, being a big time player, could he handle being shopped? Now, the question now has to be asked too: could we part with RJ? Because if that article came out yesterday that either the Jazz was interested or the Knicks was interested in letting him go, other teams now might inquire about RJ. So could the Knicks, could we survive without RJ?
So that I had a question for you. So that leads me to my thing. So that goes into, so then who's untouchable? So you asking me, can we part with RJ? I was thinking of current times right now. It looks like RJ, Grimes, and maybe even Obi is untouchable. So like, who do you think?
Are you saying they are untouchable to you or untouchable to management?
Like, it's looking like management because Grimes is throwing in them trades.
Well, I think they probably
Obi
would
was
accept
throwing in
Obi.
them trades. Every time those two names, and even RJ hasn't really, like what you said, and Obi hasn't been thrown in them trades. Every time they're throwing in them trades, you see this, it's like no.
Well, because it's one or the other. I don't think
The only people I heard
think Obi is untouchable.
You don't think so?
They said they wanted to keep Grimes. I think if that one of the offers that was made, if it didn't include so many unprotected first round picks that Obi was in, I think they might have jumped on that. But you want Obi, Grimes, and you want IQ, and you want unprotected first round picks. You know, we got 8 picks to play with. Okay, that's fine. Remember, and the Knicks are probably one of the teams why this is in effect. You can't trade back-to-back first round picks if you only got one, and that's to protect teams like the Knicks, because we was always mortgaging off our whole future trying to get a superstar who didn't want to come anyway, and then we'll mortgage it off for second, third tier players. So that's why those rules have been put into effect. But I think Obi might have been included in that and be gone if they didn't want so much. I think Grimes was the one that they was trying to protect. But even with the right deal, they probably would let Grimes go. Because it all started with Ntilikina. He started the pipeline of we're going to build our team with the youth core moving up. Now he's gone. The second player that we got was Knox. Knox is gone.
So now, in saying those two, that leads me to my next thing I was going to ask you. So Grimes has
You should be
promotion.
sitting on this side. Now, go ahead.
Yeah, so Grimes has promotion, right? So you think the Knicks is going towards like real youth development? Since we talking about this, like, do you think it's Ntilikina? We didn't really have that promotion for him. We didn't have that promotion for those young guys. Maybe just RJ. So now, way it's looking, when you scroll down social media, you see Grimes, workouts and the development and how they was pushing him to be that guy for the summer league. They didn't really do that with Obi. So you think, like I said, Grimes, Obi, RJ, these are the people that they not naming. They only really naming Quickly because Quickly's not going to get playing time when all these guys come in that they trying to get. So it's Quickly, D-Rose, you know what I mean? So do you think Grimes, are they going to that youth development?
I
Looking
can't
at
say.
what Grimes is going through right now?
Yeah, the Knicks, see, they talk it. I don't see, because even when you go back to Kevin Knox, right? Okay, Kevin didn't have a motor, but again, Calipari said that about Kevin Knox, but you knew he had skill because you drafted him so high. So you could have put plays in place that fit his skill set when you had him, because he's not a bad player. But if he's just out there with no direction and rhyme or reason, it's hard for a guy like that. But I don't think the Knicks are moving towards the youth movement. I think if the right deal come along, hate to say that, but I think they would jump, and I think they would just move all them guys if they could to get the right people. Because it's easier to say stay with the youth movement because it gives you a chance in your mind to kind of like tell the fans that, we building this, we trying to do this slowly the right way through the draft, but that's only buying yourself time until you can get on a nice winning streak like they did the year before. And then all that youth stuff goes out the window. But while you're losing, it buys you time to say that. Now, Grimes is a definite stud. So to promote Grimes at this stage now of his career, and that's his second year. That's smart of the Knicks because really there's nothing he can't do out there on the basketball court, given opportunity, time and opportunity. But I can't say as a whole that the Knicks are, geared to this youth movement. Now we did re-sign Mitch, it was the first, but RJ now time is coming up, which is second. Are you going to stick to RJ as part of that youth movement? Because now these guys are getting into veteranship in the league. When you start getting 4 and 5, they start labeling you now a veteran, which I think is crazy. But so what are we going to do? We got Grimes, we got IQ, we got Deuce, we got who else is young on that Obi and Sims and Jericho.
We also got the dude that we drafted that was playing with RJ. What's his name?
Reddish.
Yeah,
so but Reddish ain't homegrown. So as far as the homegrown players, are you on that youth movement? No, I can't honestly say.
I think so. I think as much as we can't stomach it, I think they can't stomach it. Like I said, the promotion for Grimes is on par with RJ Barrett, right?
You think so?
I think so. Remember, I'm on the social media, so I'm on Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. So I mean, y'all tell me, because I see Grimes every time we say you like him, it's like it gets even better.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Summer League, when we saying, oh, he's Allen Houston, we started comparing him to Klay Thompson. So now it's like our expectations maybe it's too high. That's gonna bring me to another point later, but maybe that's the fan in me, or
Yeah, but I think they should. I think they should keep him. That's what I think. I think Grimes should get everything that a future star player is supposed to get and more. Now, what do you develop into a future star on this current Knicks team? We don't know as the way that it's constructed right now.
Donovan Mitchell, I think. I don't know. As a basketball player, I feel like if the opportunity's there, I'm gonna try to take it. So he should.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta go out. You gotta go after a star. Yeah, that's just doing your due diligence as a management team. But again, we always got to go back to the Melo thing. You can't mortgage off your whole future for one player who really doesn't make you a star player. Now, could he attract other people to come there? Yeah, he probably could, because nobody wants to be the lone player in New York. So, and then hey, let's look at it too. Could Randall and Mitchell, if that was the case, could they be a star tandem? That's a question for another day. All right, so going back to what you were saying before with IQ and Obi. Okay, I was looking at another article. Now, usually I'm giving my own opinion, but I've just seen things that caught my eye the past day. And by picking up Brunson and the backup center from the Clippers, I don't want to chop his name all up. That's going to affect, both their playing times of IQ and Obi. So, excuse me. So now, looking at that part, could you part with one of them guys, knowing that the way the article was saying that they're probably only going to get, depending on how Derrick Rose play, they're probably only going to get spot duty off the bench. Now, you ain't talking about coming off the bench. The two acquisitions we got. You talking about spot duty. That, okay, you can keep them still because they're young, but how you going to develop them in spot duty? After this is year 3. You don't want to send them down to the G League, right?
Well, depending on what they do at Randall, I think is what is going to happen with Obi. If Randall stays, now what happens? Can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think you convinced me yesterday. Now what happens if this Grimes, RJ, Brunson, if they come in good? Now what's going to happen with Obi if Randall starts playing off these guys? Then Randall now is Randall a keeper. Like when he understands he's not number 1 option, he might be like number 3.
No, I don't think he understands that yet.
I'm talking about what happens if he does. Like,
no, that'd be perfect. Now if you get Mitchell, if you get Donovan Mitchell, I don't know if he would respect Donovan Mitchell enough to say I'm taking a back seat to you. Now when you got it going, you got to bring in a star for Randall in his mind. You're still looking at 2 years removed from second team All NBA. In his mind, I'm still that guy. So the way he's training, working out. So now you bring in another all-star, but who's not one of the top caliber all-stars. Do Randall? No, he might not. And nor would not the regular person wouldn't think that way because he's not a top tier star. But as far as Obi is concerned, the way I was reading the article with our new backup center we got, that he might be used some alongside Mitch because he can shoot, pass, and handle the ball. That's where the effect of Obi. We know some of the guards are going to get hurt. And then we know that Mitch at times could get nagging injuries now too. But IQ, and Obi, it looks bad for them in that sense. Now, Derrick Rose is prone to get hurt in a season, which we know that's going to happen. So the door could always be left open. But if Derrick is still there and he's healthy, Tibbs, that's his guy. He's putting Rose back in there as the backup. So that's gonna lead them two guys, with their psyche up in the air. And then it begs the question, then the Knicks, if you're not gonna use them, do you use them as trade bait?
Well, at least with Derrick Rose, we know he knows he's there as the veteran. You know what I mean? At least he knows that. He feel like he's home with family. The Knicks respect him. He don't really got no media trouble with New York.
All right, but now would he decide to be a third backup? Would he decide to be the third?
He was already supposed to be the third, but we didn't never get that other point guard. Then somebody get hurt. We had Kemba, and we had quickly. D Rose was like number 3 coming out. He wasn't number 2.
If he started the season, he didn't start the season as no number 3.
Well, I think somebody was hurt, right? I think
Kemba. somebody.
So
yeah,
quickly,
Kemba
I think quickly started, right?
And we said that in training camp.
So I think he knows he's really just there to get us to the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like let him stay knees ready, not get too many minutes. So when the playoffs come, at least we got that veteran that we know can go in 1,000 for at least the whole playoff run. That's how I see it.
Oh,
like we named Iguodala and all these other players. I think Derrick Rose is that for us. That's why I always say I really don't want to dismantle our team like that. But that's a
that's a good point, because if Derrick buys into that helps IQ.
I think he did already.
Yeah.
I think he knows why he's there. Listen, I can go back to point guards we have. I loved Baron Davis before he got hurt, but he had to play so much. By the time we got there, he got hurt. Jason Kidd played so much. By the time he just couldn't shoot nothing. But still.
No, well, my theory on Jason Kidd. Don't get me started on that. But that was going to be my next question, but you kind of answered already. What could IQ and Obi do in that situation to stay in the rotation? And if Derrick is buying into, I could be the third guard. If that's the plan, then that works all the way around. But as long as his leadership is on the bench, and then at times you can get him in there and, keep him going, and somebody have an off day and foul trouble, and he can get more minutes, then that's perfect. Because the playoffs is when you're going to need, Derrick Rose.
All right, so now, since we brought up the point about point guards, New York City point guards, Showtime, right? 1988 draft. It stuck out to me. I'm still new to the game. 1988 draft, they said we drafted Rod Strickland after getting a point guard the year before. The Knicks fans booed. You hear me?
I remember that. Yeah.
All right, so we just watched it. I just watched it this morning. They booed. The Knicks fans jumped the gun too fast when we don't like somebody or we like somebody. So now, Jalen Brunson, giving him benefit of the doubt, because we just spoke about him. We talking about D Rose. We talking about point guards coming in and out. Who's getting playing time? What happened if Jalen Brunson is the guy?
All right, that's 2 questions. So the first one, the Knicks, when they booed Rod Strickland, I don't think they booed Rod. I think they booed because Mark just came off Rookie of the Year, had a great rookie year. I think they knew that we could have filled another need. So I think they booed the management, the position.
So I didn't know the guy that was sitting next to him. They said they wanted to come.
Well, I don't know. That was Sheldon Jones from St. John's. No, we didn't need. He wasn't that.
So that's what I'm saying. So like
that we needed.
They said the next best thing was him.
Nah, he was It was other people in that draft. He had Sheldon Jones back for St. John's.
Not Sheldon Jones, but Strickland.
Yeah, Strickland. He was the best player available. But they could have found people at that position.
Which I'm not sure. Did he play?
He played good. He played when he was with us.
That's what I'm saying. He played to what I need. So that's the question. Do we jump the gun as fans? Do we jump the gun too fast and saying what we don't want, what we think we need?
Brunson is going to be a good...
Do we give our players time to at least show us?
Well, let's say this. Brunson going to be a good Knick. The Knicks always jump the gun on draft night. That's just a ritual. That's...
Draft night, we
don't matter who you
trades.
Draft. Yeah,
we jump the gun with... If they in the D-League playing well, we jump the gun. Now, we got this in the G League.
But that's New York for you.
Miles McBride.
Yeah, remember last year, everybody's calling Miles McBride to get all this time. He got a lot of time. Okay, he played well, but it didn't move the needle. But as far as Brunson, going back to your other question,
Alonzo Trier.
Again, on this team, Trier would be good. Because Tibbs gives the offensive freedom. We know he can defend. We know he can shoot. We know he's clutch. So on this particular team, Trier would be excellent. I said that last year, matter of fact. But back to Brunson. Brunson's thing is everybody wants Brunson. It's just that I remember I said last week is what we did to move to get him that you usually save for a star. But even if Brunson plays excellent, Brunson's not. He's not going to be the man. He wasn't brought here to be. We gave him the man money, but he wasn't brought here to be the man. He was brought here to hold down that point guard position and facilitate, as a leader. But he was never brought here to be our first, second leading scorers.
But that's only hard to say because I think we was talking about the last episode, John Morant. These guys probably wasn't brought in to be a star, let alone probably even start. And you just let them do what they want to do. Who's to say?
Well, John Morant, I think, was brought in.
I say Brunson. Nobody really even says they don't like him. We just talking about the money he got. Like now, so what? And then we don't got no Patrick Ewing. So when Mark Jackson came, it wasn't like, oh, he's the guard to just take over. He's the guard to help out Patrick Ewing. So now with Brunson, he's just the guy because we just didn't have no point guard. So you think we just jumping the gun and thinking that, oh, man, they're going to make him the guy. Now, what happens if he just turned into AI? I don't know. Like, do we jump the gun?
But that ain't what we need. We need him for the reason they brought him in.
He dropped 20 to 30 points a game.
He can get that, but he can get that.
Which was out.
But no, he can get that without being the man, though. You can drop 20, 30 and still not be the man.
But on Dallas, was he technically for that?
No, he was there. Or was he not? He decided. He watched Luka. Now he praises Luka, which he should. But he watches Luka go 1-on-1, or rather 1-on-4, 1-on-3, 1-on-4 all the time. When you know other people are open. So if Luka's out and nobody ain't saying nothing to Luka, and he jocking up shots, right? So now Luka's out. I'm getting mine too. And the thing about it is that they both can dish. Luka a little bit way better, but they both will drop off to the open man. So that's why you can stomach it a little bit. But it helps when you're on that type of team to understand that we are a guard-oriented team. And our shooters got to be ready to shoot. So he's not really coming to us. Now, we want him to do all those things, but do we want him holding the ball that much? No.
I mean, my complaint was our guard can't hold the ball that long because he can't do nothing with it. Well, we want a guard that's going to get everybody involved. That's what we want. We want a guard. Okay, you coming down on the break and Randall's there, but two other people got a better shot. Hit those two other people with the better. Like that's what we want. That's what's going to make us, because that's how we played better in those stretches of the season when we were off and running. And after Randall fortunately was out, and everybody was touching the ball on the break. Everybody was getting it. You get it out there. You don't got it. Swing to the next man. Dunk. Whatever it is. 3-pointer. That's how the Knicks need to play. But it's funny.
And that's the personnel it look like they trying to assemble.
I'm having a thought. And this wasn't even on my radar. If Jalen Brunson and New York Knicks do not play well, that whole family first is going to backfire on them. So I think he's going to come in and do something. There's no way.
I think he is too.
Yeah, there's no way he can come in that game and not even try to go for 30, 40 every night.
No, but that's not that. But that's not.
I'm just saying, like he
could get
gotta win.
He could get 10, 15, and we win, and he did his job because he's here to do so many other things that we lacked in a point guard leader last year. Kemba, even in his heyday, he wasn't a leader. He was just good. He was a really good player back in his heyday. And it says Charlotte now might be trying to bring him back home. So we need that vocal leader, gathering everybody back together, when things look like they're getting out of hand. He's brought in for so much more than dropping 30. Now, he drops 30, that's fine. But it's got to be a team 30. Just can't be you getting 30 every night. Because for that kid, we can let Randall and RJ do that and lose. We need guys that's going to buy into a system and play team basketball, and then now 2 or 3 guys can get 20 or 30, and we good. So I hope he's not coming in with that mindset. Since you say that, but he can average 15 and still be one of our top players in that sense, because we need a leader. Everybody established that we do need a leading point guard. So if that's what he is, come in and be that. Okay, tonight you got 30. Okay, the next 2 games you might get 10 and 15. And still we win, and everybody's, playing well, and everybody's happy. Everybody's getting shots where they know they should be able to get shots. Right, then, Brunson, we go clap you up and let's go. Let's move on to the next one. But I don't see him coming in being a Donovan Mitchell or being a John Moran. We don't need him to do that. We have capable scorers. We just need facilitators.
Yeah, we just need somebody that's not scared to do it. RJ shown it, but hopefully he.
Yeah, and if RJ can improve himself on scoring without holding the ball so long, because RJ has to set his man up as far as in the half court. And if that's a team play and everybody designed that when RJ go a certain way because he's coming back left, everybody's shifting to, where they got to go, that's fine. That's a play. But for somebody just to wave people off, just to set your man up 5 times in a row, we don't need that no more. That's why we got a point guard now. You like it here, you like it there, you like it there, let's go. Roll the ball out. But as far as IQ and Obi, Obi can find ways to get on the court as a spark plug. We just like to see Obi take that next step. And the only way he gonna probably be able to do it if it's the coach put some things in there for him. Obi, when you come in the game, this is what we need you to do. Not just hustle. He's not a great defender anyway, but at least he can get up into his man, but he's not like a great one-on-one defender. But we need you to do certain things that you do well. If you're only going to get 10 minutes a game, 15 minutes a game, this is what I need in them 15 minutes. Same thing with Grimes. Don't put Grimes out there for 25, 30 minutes and he's just a decoy. To me, that's a waste. That's a pure waste. You bring him in the game like a microwave Vinnie Johnson type player. Bring me in the game, let me run the score up or whatever it is, or get us back in it, take me back out if that's the case. But don't just put me out there and say run up and down the court, and if I got an open shot, take it. So we got some things that we got to work on, as a Knicks team. But after listening to Brunson at this basketball clinic, I just started saying in my mind, whatever he's gonna be, he's confident in it. Whatever it is, he feels like the stuff he's doing in practice is going to carry over into his games, and that's all I know. So I was impressed with that. I was almost had to take back some stuff I was saying last week, because when you see that in a person, it started like it changes things.
Yeah, after that Showtime show, I started to think like, man, maybe. Yeah,
because the Knicks, we had a real run of bad luck, and one of my stories I always tried to tell you, even growing up, is that when we got Patrick Ewing, it's because Bernard King was on the threshold of being one of the top. He was one of the top players in the NBA. He gets hurt, we get Patrick. Bernard comes back after 2 or 3 year injury. Comes back, Patrick is hurt, so they never played together. Then the next year you trade him because they booed Kenny Smith. I mean Kenny. What's his name? That we got the year after Patrick Ewing. Kenny Skywalker. They booed him because they said we needed a big man. Because we knew Bernard was supposed to be coming back. But they trade Bernard. Bernard goes on to Washington to be an all-star again. So the Knicks never had that dynamic duo that they would have had. That we would probably had another 6-7 more years that Bernard probably had left in the league, with Patrick. And Patrick would have been the Bill Russell that everybody said he was coming out of Georgetown. He wouldn't have to be that 35-point scorer for us. He'd have been a 20-point scorer and defense intimidator. And we'd have Bernard King carrying the offensive load. So we had opportunities in the past, but now we have a good opportunity to get it right, this time. All right, lost in all this hoopla we talking about, and a lot of that's with guard play, but Julius Randle, watching some of his workout videos, watching how he's in Vegas in the summer league, with the guys, training with Jericho Sims and all them guys, and they fall in love with his work ethic and everything. That tells me that he knows he's gonna probably still be here, and not only am I just gonna be here, I'm gonna be a major contributor, and I'm gonna be a leader. That's what that's showing me. Because remember, they showed him working out last year, but he looked like he came into camp out of shape. The stuff they showing this year looks like he's gonna try to get back to what he was doing the year before. So with all that said, if Julius is trying to be that guy again, and we talking about bringing in all these people, now the Knicks, would you try to trade him, or do you know that, okay, Did you tell him this at the end of the season? This is what we need from you. Come back ready to do this. Like, did him and Tibbs or him and management have that conversation? And which could be why, why didn't they go after bigger names? And when I say bigger names, I don't mean names that was free agents. I'm talking about the Lakers have a history of not having any money, any picks, but they always get their guy with nothing, right? Always come away with their guy, and that's a credit to management when you can get out and wheel and deal like that. We used to talk about David Griffin when he was with Cleveland, how he could just go out, any player LeBron wants, he can just go get. Regardless of salary cap, okay,
right, so
I can make it happen.
All right, but is that just because, how hard is it to get somebody to come to L.A.?
Doesn't matter. If you how about with Cleveland?
I don't think we
okay, but I'm talking about with same thing when Cleveland, LeBron was in Cleveland.
He didn't really get nobody to come there.
He got the pieces he wanted to surround him. He got.
That's all right, so let's break that down.
Well, we ain't gonna break down Cleveland.
No, not break down real quick. But Kevin Love got traded there. Kyrie was already there. LeBron went back. J.R. Smith and Shumpert went there for nothing. I think we might have just gave them up and said, here.
Well, we gave up J.R.
Yeah, so
for here.
He ain't really bring nobody there. He probably just had a conversation with his friends and said, you ain't got nowhere else to go. Come here.
So when you bring in guys,
it's not like Miami,
Richard Jefferson,
where you kind of got to
guys.
convince.
Well, the same thing was the same thing with Miami. When you think about, they had the big three in Miami, and then you got Mike Miller. Yeah, I mean, other than that, everybody else, they say everybody went to Miami. Everybody really didn't go to Miami. Mike Miller was once an all-star, but after Mike Miller, really everybody else. So that was a good point you brought up, because that is true. But everybody else after that, they really was just good players that fit around LeBron. And that holds true for the same thing in Cleveland. You brought in people that fit around him. Yeah, and and when you brought in stars in LA, you brought in the old stars. Melo, Dwight Howard.
Wish they had nowhere to go.
Rondo.
It was almost like Trump. You ain't got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Might as well come over here.
So Julius, they may not have went after people to even try to make something happen, because that's a lot to say for a GM. If you can have no money and no draft picks, and you can look at somebody's roster, and you can say, you know what, that guy gonna be good on my team. Now, I don't got nothing to get him, but all I got is what's in my head. I can talk you out of giving him up. I can talk you out of taking this from us. That's what a good GM knows how to do. So maybe Julius Randle right now is a guy that we still have on our building block, to be a successful team. But we just want him to come back and be what he was 2 years ago. The only problem with that is he only got 1 year tape of that. It's not like he was ever that before. And as of last year, he wasn't that after. So that's the bad part about the gamble of not maybe going after somebody. Now, I know people have said, too, in the comments, nobody's going to take Julius Randle. A good GM could find a way for you to take him. And that's really what it's all about.
Well,
it's relationships. Is
Randle ain't got nothing to leverage if you want to stay in this league, so you're going to have to play good.
Well, he's going to be in this league. Because
he's going to have to play
we got to even say this. Well, we can even say this about last year with Randle. Even when times where we know he didn't have a good season, but he had stretches in the season during a game when he wanted to just be like a man-child. And that's what he was out there at times, when he wanted to be. And we can't have that. We got to have him want to be that all the time. But there's times when he wanted to take over that game. He took over that game for that stretch. And he looked like shouldn't even be out there with them boys. So that's the type of player that Randle can be. I don't want to say be again, because he only did it 1 year. But he showed flashes that he can take over a moment of a game anytime he get ready. So we got to keep that open mind about Julius Randle, that no matter who we bring in his mind, he's still a star. So in his mind, you bringing in other stars to play with me is what he probably thinking. So as the summer go on, which is not much left leaving training camp, anything still could happen. So we don't know. We speculating, which is the beauty of this whole thing. Nobody knows. But I tell you, for the first time, I was shocked last week. They had Brian Windhorst, how do you say his name? Windhorst, and Woj on the same show, and now to see two of them speculating, it almost kind of make you feel a little bit good, because if they don't know, nobody don't know. And then they were saying what somebody might do and what somebody should do. So that was kind of like a good feeling in that sense that nobody's really wrong. It's really your opinion on how you feel about your squad and how you feel about the NBA. You know, so with that said, take a moment before you leave out and hit the like button, hit the notification bell. By the time you see this, it will be Monday morning. And everybody have a nice weekend.
Peace.